7 years ago, on the day of the catastrophe, a horrifying disaster known as a dungeon break occurred. Due to that incident, many people suffered, and his parents also passed away. It was the day he lost everything in an instant, making a solemn pledge to himself amidst tears of blood, he would become a hunter, tearing apart monsters and eradicating them. 7 years later, on this very day, he was expelled from the Hunter Training Center. A while ago, when member Han Sungyoon went to the Hunter Training Center, he was informed that his presence was no longer required. Upon questioning the reason for his expulsion, he was told that those who have awakened are typically given a few months to complete their training and usually debut as hunters. However, Sunyoon had already exceeded that time frame. It had been 7 years. He was bluntly informed that his talent was subpar. They were unwilling to allow him to remain because it would tarnish the reputation of their training center. People at the training center regarded him as foolish for not recognizing his limitations. Despite training for 7 years, his stats remained stagnant. He couldn't increase them at all, aside from unlocking unique traits and acquiring skills. Feeling disheartened, he overheard a child recounting how her father had perished heroically while saving others from monsters. The child proudly shared her father's sacrifice and, when asked by her mother how to handle tough times in the future, she replied with determination, to stay strong and never give up. Upon hearing this, Sunyoon suddenly stood up, expressing gratitude to the mother and child. As he began to run, he reflected on how he had endured the past 7 years. It dawned on him that he couldn't simply give up now. He didn't want to. As Sunyoon returned to the Hunter Training Center amidst pouring rain, he pleaded with the director for another chance to take the Hunter exam, but the director coldly dismissed him. When Sunyoon insisted that he couldn't give up, the director grew enraged, assuming Sunyoon had returned solely because he felt his investment had been wasted. In a gesture of apparent generosity, the director offered to refund half of Sunyoon's membership fees. However, when Sunyoon passionately declared that it wasn't about the money, the director's anger boiled over, culminating in a slap that sent Sunyoon tumbling into a heap of garbage. In the director's eyes, Sunyoon was nothing but a failed, worthless individual. Sitting amidst the garbage under the pouring rain, Sunyoon pondered his situation, wishing he possessed even the slightest bit of unique talent or ability. Suddenly, a system notification interrupted his thoughts, announcing that the Tower of Trials was acknowledging his iron will. Before he could react, Sunyoon found himself engulfed by the rising water, slowly drowning until he was abruptly transported to another dimension. The Tower of Trials had selected all suitable candidates from Earth. The system presented Sunyoon with an option to choose a difficulty level, promising rewards directly proportional to the chosen challenge. Though unsure of what was happening, Sunyoon's instincts urged him to seize this opportunity. After selecting a difficulty, he found himself transported to the first floor of the Tower of Trials, where he was deposited into a desert and armed with a sword as his weapon. The trial's objective was clear: survival. The reward for completing it? A coveted, unique trait. Sunyoon believed that he was finally going to obtain something he had worked tirelessly for over the past 7 years, filling him with an overwhelming sense of excitement. As he moved to pick up the sword, the tutorial trial abruptly began, set at the hard difficulty level. A sand golem emerged from beneath the ground, causing Sunyoon to tremble with fear. His challenge was clear: survive against the sand golem for the allocated time. Sunyoon was given 10 minutes to complete the trial, with the penalty for failure being death. Sunyoon began to flee from the sand golem, questioning whether he could truly escape just by running. Despite its lumbering appearance, the sand golem proved surprisingly swift due to its size. Moreover, in the desert biome, it was impossible for Sunyoon to sustain a continuous sprint for the full 9 remaining minutes with his limited stamina. The world had provided him with a sword and instructed him to survive. He comprehended the task at hand. It was a matter of either dying in the attempt to flee or standing his ground and fighting. Yet, he couldn't help but wonder how he was supposed to emerge victorious against such a formidable opponent. As Sunyoon recalled the disdainful looks and mockery of those who had belittled him, he couldn't help but view the sand golem as yet another adversary. He questioned whether fleeing would only result in his demise, yet he couldn't bring himself to accept such a fate. Despite his doubts, Sunyoon possessed confidence in his theoretical knowledge, surpassing that of many hunters in the field. He understood that monsters like golems would cease their movements if their cores were destroyed. However, These cores were typically located in hard-to-reach places. With this insight in mind, Sunyoon made a calculated decision to sprint towards the uphill terrain of the desert, hoping to make reaching the golem's core more accessible. As the sand golem attempted to strike him, it lost its balance on the uneven desert terrain, tumbling downward. Seizing the moment as an opportunity, Sunyoon sprinted towards the fallen golem, aiming to leap over it and reach its core. However, upon attempting to shatter the core with his sword, Sunyoon discovered it was far more resilient than he had anticipated. As the golem began to rise once more, Sunyoon swung his sword once again, but before he could land a decisive blow, the golem swiftly seized him in its massive hand. From Sunyoon's perspective, he saw the golem as a representation of all those who had mocked him, fueling his rage. With a surge of anger, he raised his sword and defiantly commanded the golem to be silent before driving the blade into its core, ultimately destroying the sand golem. Shocked by his own actions, Sunyoon realized that he had completed the tutorial trial with 7 minutes remaining. Unable to believe that he had vanquished the formidable foe, Sunyoon was congratulated by the system for clearing the first floor of the Tower of Trials. As a reward, he could now unlock unique traits and had obtained a skill called Fast Recovery, along with a total of 1,500 reward points. Sunyoon struggled to comprehend the turn of events. Despite investing immense effort over the past 7 years, all he had received in return was disdain and ridicule. However, with the unlocking of his unique trait, necromancy, Sunyoon felt a glimmer of hope that he could finally become a hunter. Yet, he understood that survival was still paramount. Upon unlocking his unique trait, Sunyoon noticed a dark fog materializing where the sand golem had fallen. As he reached out to touch it, his necromancy ability activated. Presented with the option to absorb the sand golem's spirit, Sunyoon hesitated briefly before selecting yes. As he did, the black fog began to merge into his body. After absorbing the spirit of the sand golem, Sunyoon's proficiency increased by 7%. At present, he could absorb and store up to 5 spirits in total. These spirits would enable him to permanently increase his stats. As Sunyoon utilized the absorbed spirit, he could feel the surging energy filling his body, and his stats had indeed risen. After 7 years of stagnation, he had finally found a way to permanently enhance his abilities. With this newfound skill, Sunyoon believed he had a chance to become a hunter. As he contemplated his future, the system notified him to move to the waiting room. Entering the waiting room, Sunyoon suddenly collapsed from the injuries he had sustained. However, to his astonishment, all his wounds were miraculously healed. He pondered whether his body automatically healed at the end of the trial. Spotting a bed, he promptly lay down, contemplating whether escaping the tower was truly possible. After receiving the system's notification, Sunyoon familiarized himself with the available commands. Info, Store, Community, Inventory, and Trial. Recognizing the importance of survival, he mentally focused on that objective. Activating the trial command, Sunyoon learned that he had 23 hours remaining until the second floor trial. Curious about his fellow participants, Sunyoon accessed the community command. Within the community, he discovered others who had also been drawn into the Tower of Trials. Notably, these individuals were not hunters like himself. Moments later, an administrator entered the community and announced they had vital information for those who had cleared the tutorial trial. The admin explained that points served as currency within the Tower of Trials and were essential for obtaining necessities. Participants could utilize the community to exchange points with others. Furthermore, the admin emphasized that within the Tower of Trials, even a single drop of water could not be obtained without points. Therefore, Sunyoon and the others needed to adapt to the rules of the tower. It was clear that continuously clearing trials was necessary to earn points for survival. Sunyoon contemplated his potential return as a hunter but acknowledged the limitations of relying solely on a longsword. With this in mind, he accessed the store and purchased a shield to complement his weaponry. Aware that all hunters had lost their stats upon entering the tower, Sunyoon committed himself to rigorous training to catch up to them. During his training sessions, Sunyoon benefited from the healing effect, which facilitated his progress and made training more manageable. Additionally, he ensured to purchase food to stave off hunger, allowing him to focus fully on his physical conditioning. As the time approached to clear the second floor, Sunyoon's determination to survive burned even brighter. Accepting the trial of the second floor, he stepped through the portal, finding himself in a dense forest. The objective of this trial, assassination. Sunyoon's task was to eliminate the orc tribe leader within the designated time limit. Standing at the edge of a cliff, Sunyoon surveyed the orc tribe's village sprawled below. He pondered his approach, wondering how he could infiltrate a place teeming with orcs and ultimately defeat the tribe leader. Sunyoon cautiously approached, concealing himself as he observed the entrance to the orcs' base. He was aware that within dungeons, if there were guards among the orc tribe, they could be likened to hunters. Knowing the challenge of facing even one orc hunter, Sunyoon's concern magnified due to the sheer number of orcs present. To stand a chance against the horde, he recognized the necessity of assembling a party of E-rank hunters to ensure their survival. Sunyoon, contemplating his options, chose to retreat temporarily, intending to return later with a well-devised plan. He began gathering firewood, storing it in his inventory for later use. Despite their appearance resembling lazy pigs, orcs were a diligent race, typically hunting in the mornings and returning at dusk. Sunyoon recognized this schedule provided him with ample time to prepare. Realizing that facing the trial under maximum difficulty and numerical inferiority required a strategic approach, Sunyoon concluded that fire would be his most effective weapon. Armed with the knowledge from the Hunter Association that orc guards weren't always vigilant, Sunyoon devised a plan. He strategically scattered the firewood around the village, intending to create a trap for the orcs. By surrounding the village with fire, Sunyoon aimed to block off any incoming orc hunters returning from their hunt. Before executing this plan, however, Sunyoon realized he needed to eliminate at least 2 orc workers. As the orcs approached the river for water, Sunyoon seized the opportunity and swiftly eliminated one of them. With the orc's demise, Sunyoon's necromancer trait activated, allowing him to absorb the fallen orc's spirit. Yet, his triumph was short-lived as a guard orc suddenly appeared behind him, launching a powerful attack. Reacting quickly, Sunyoon managed to block the attack, though he struggled under the orc's strength. Feeling the pressure, Sunyoon decided to absorb the stored spirits he had collected, permanently increasing his stats. With his augmented abilities, Sunyoon regained his footing and launched a counterattack. The fierce exchange culminated in Sunyoon's victory over the guard orc, revitalizing his skill, fast recovery. Absorbing the spirit of the fallen guard hunter, Sunyoon was astonished to find that it also bolstered his stamina. As Sunyoon approached the orc's base, he assessed the situation. 3 workers, 1 guard, and an old clan head, totaling 5 orcs. Recognizing the guard as the primary threat, Sunyoon remained cautious. He knew that once he neutralized the guard, defeating the clan head would pose little challenge. The workers posed no significant threat. Despite his careful approach, Sunyoon's shield failed to fully block the guard's attack, resulting in a broken bone. However, seizing the opportunity as the guard separated from the clan head, Sunyoon swiftly dispatched the final obstacle. Yet, his victory was short-lived as the clan head unleashed a powerful fire magic attack. Reacting swiftly, Sunyoon used his shield to block the fiery onslaught. The clan head, astonished by Sunyoon's resilience, couldn't believe his survival. With the successful block, Sunyoon achieved a milestone, creating a skill named Fire Resistance. Fueled by determination, Sunyoon's resolve intensified as he focused on eliminating the clan head once and for all. As Sunyoon cautiously approached the clan head, the orc attempted another attack, but Sunyoon swiftly severed both of his hands. In a panic, the clan head fled towards its house, prompting Sunyoon to pursue. Upon entering the dwelling, Sunyoon destroyed the entrance, only to be confronted by a surprising sight: 2 little orcs embracing the clan head. One of the little orcs pleaded before Sunyoon, evoking thoughts of family bonds. However, this sentiment stirred painful memories of the monsters that had slain his parents. Suddenly, one of the little orcs brandished a knife from its back and lunged at Sunyoon. Reacting swiftly, Sunyoon swiftly dispatched the attacker, delivering a crushing blow that marred the orc's face. Undeterred, the remaining 2 orcs joined the fray, attacking Sunyoon together. Yet, their efforts were in vain as Sunyoon effortlessly defeated them, vanquishing the last remnants of the orc tribe. With the completion of the 2nd floor of the Tower of Trials, the system congratulated Sunyoon. Though his shield was now rendered unusable, it had played a vital role in his survival. Reflecting on the close call, Sunyoon felt a surge of relief for still being alive. Turning his attention to the community, Sunyoon was dismayed to discover that half of its members had perished during the trial. As he scrolled through the messages, one chat in particular caught his eye, a revelation from someone claiming to have found a way to return to Earth. Sunyoon accessed the information command, one of the 5 available commands within the Tower of Trials. Each time he entered a new floor, he received a question voucher, allowing him to seek crucial information. Thanks to insights gleaned from the community, Sunyoon learned of a temporary return stone available for purchase. This stone would grant him a brief respite on Earth upon completing the 5th floor of the tower. Additionally, he discovered rumors suggesting that beyond the 7th floor, a significant system expansion would occur. Furthermore, items capable of permanently returning individuals to Earth were said to be available for purchase at that stage. Sunyoon harbored a profound belief that if he returned to Earth with his newfound abilities and current prowess, he could ascend to the rank of an A-rank hunter. The mere thought of possessing such capabilities back on Earth felt almost like a scam to him. Although he had only just scraped through the 2nd floor of the Tower of Trials, the notion of reaching the 8th floor seemed like a distant dream. Nevertheless, Sunyoon remained resolutely optimistic. His stats, once insignificant, were now steadily climbing, averaging towards 20. After absorbing all 5 stored spirits, Sunyoon felt an overwhelming surge of strength coursing through his veins. His newfound agility was remarkable, allowing him to move with astonishing speed, even running along the ceiling. However, the rapid growth left a significant gap in his physical body, a testament to the magnitude of his transformation. Eager to harness his enhanced abilities, Sunyoon visited the shop and purchased a new shield and dagger. Additionally, he acquired an assassin's cape boasting impressive bonuses. With his new equipment in hand, Sunyoon embarked on rigorous training, striving to familiarize himself with his items and optimize his stats before the next trial. His ultimate goal was to become so formidable that none could dare approach him. As Sunyoon entered the 3rd floor of the Tower of Trials, he found himself in a cave, awaiting the commencement of the trial. The subject of this trial was revealed to be a duel, with the looming challenge of facing the Guardian of Darkness. Suddenly, without warning, Sunyoon was blindsided by a surprise attack from a dark enemy. Regaining his composure, Sunyoon recognized his adversary, the doppelganger, the Guardian of Darkness. As Sunyoon attempted to kick the doppelganger, his attack failed to connect, narrowly avoiding a potentially fatal strike aimed at his spine. Observing the doppelganger's position mirroring his own, Sunyoon began to suspect that it was indeed copying his movements. To test his theory, Sunyoon decided to engage in direct combat with the doppelganger. As Sunyoon inflicted damage upon the doppelganger, he observed with growing concern as the creature utilized a healing skill, countering the effects of his attacks. Recognizing that the doppelganger was indeed mimicking his moves, Sunyoon decided to exploit the weaknesses in his own swordsmanship to gain the upper hand against his adversary. However, despite his efforts, Sunyoon found himself locked in a relentless battle as the doppelganger inexplicably grew stronger with each passing moment. With the pressure mounting, Sunyoon activated the innate effect of his cape, enhancing his movement speed to its maximum potential. Knowing he couldn't afford to prolong the battle, Sunyoon focused on delivering swift and decisive strikes against his adversary. Utilizing his newfound speed, Sunyoon managed to inflict significant damage upon the enemy. However, to his astonishment and horror, the doppelganger retaliated by severing his arm. Realizing the doppelganger's momentary vulnerability as it remained motionless, Sunyoon seized the opportunity to strike. However, without a sword, he faced a dilemma. In a bold and seemingly insane move, Sunyoon decided to utilize his shield as a weapon. With determination, Sunyoon charged towards the immobilized monster with the speed of a bullet train. Employing his shield as a battering ram, he forcefully collided with the doppelganger, sending it hurtling through the air. The impact shattered the doppelganger's body, effectively incapacitating it. Sunyoon wasted no time in securing the creature's defeat, delivering the final blow with his shield, akin to squashing a potato against the ground. As Sunyoon moved to the waiting room of the 4th floor, he experienced a complete restoration of his body, with all debuffs and injuries magically healed. Testing his hand, he felt a sense of satisfaction as he punched the wall, confirming its perfect recovery. With 1 out of 5 spirit slots now filled, Sunyoon contemplated the unique essence he had acquired, the spirit of the doppelganger defeated in the cave. Intrigued by its potency, Sunyoon couldn't help but wonder about the remarkable density of the spirit compared to those of other monsters he had encountered. As Sunyoon's unique trait, necromancy, reached 100% proficiency, its rank ascended from F rank to E rank. This advancement brought with it an additional effect. When absorbing the spirits of the deceased, Sunyoon now had a chance to randomly acquire one of the awakened skills possessed by the spirit, with equal probability. Reflecting on his newfound ability, Sunyoon marveled at the unpredictable nature of acquiring skills through his trait. The journey to obtain skills was fraught with challenges, and Sunyoon never imagined he would possess such an unconventional trait. Upon entering the 4th floor community, he read an information notice about the next trial. It's an integrated trial, suggesting they'll need to work as a team. However, the shocking realization is that it's a competition among hunters, implying they may have to kill each other. In this trial, Sunyoon might find himself needing to take someone's life. Furthermore, he discovered that he had been matched with another challenger. And the trial was set to commence in just one day. The common trial clear condition is to defeat the Goblin King within the given time. If the challenger team perishes or runs out of time, the penalty for trial failure is death. As Sunyoon encountered the 2 other players matched with him on the 4th floor, an awkward silence filled the air. However, recognizing the necessity of cooperation, they broke the ice with introductions. The first to speak was a strikingly beautiful girl who introduced herself as Lee Haeyeon. She explained that she specialized in supporting the team and revealed her status as an E-rank hunter. Next was a less appealing figure, an individual named Lee Sunghoon. He presented himself as a hunter proficient in close combat, boasting a previous rank of D rank. Sunyoon couldn't help but notice Sunghoon's demeanor, which exuded a sense of arrogance and self-importance. Intrigued by Sunghoon's apparent confidence, Sunyoon speculated that he must have been quite accomplished to attain a D rank status. Finally, Sunyoon introduced himself, expressing his specialization in close combat as well. Unlike his companions, he admitted to being an outsider to the world of hunters, aspiring to join their ranks. Sunghoon's disdainful reaction to Sunyoon's aspirations as an aspiring hunter left a sour taste in the air. Undeterred by Sunghoon's dismissive attitude, Sunyoon calmly asserted his confidence in his ability to contribute effectively to the team. In response, Sunghoon issued a stern warning, cautioning Sunyoon that if he deemed him to be a liability, he would not hesitate to remove him from the team. Despite being accustomed to such treatment, Sunyoon brushed off Sunghoon's threats, determined to prove himself. Addressing Sunyoon as newbie, Sunghoon relegated him to a supportive role, instructing him to remain at the back to handle the lesser enemies. As the castle doors swung open, the team of 3, Sunyoon, Sunghoon, and Haeyeon, charged into battle against the horde of goblins. However, Sunghoon soon found himself overwhelmed by the organized onslaught of the goblins, struggling to keep pace with their coordinated movements. Frustrated by apparent difficulties, he urged Sunyoon to pick up the pace, mistakenly assuming that Sunyoon was not contributing effectively to the battle. Haeyeon provided invaluable support with her buffing spells, enhancing Sunghoon's combat capabilities. Sensing Sunghoon's struggle amidst the chaos of battle, Sunyoon turned to Haeyeon, expressing his concern for their teammates' well-being. Despite Haeyeon's initial reluctance, fearing the vulnerability of leaving her back exposed, she was astonished to discover that Sunyoon had already dispatched all of the goblins behind her, single-handedly securing their flank. Meanwhile, Sunghoon's plight continued to worsen as he grappled with the relentless onslaught of the goblins. His sword was forcibly torn from his grasp, leaving him defenseless against the impending attack. In a moment of desperation, Sunghoon lamented the presence of newbie on his team, feeling resigned to his fate. However, to his astonishment, Sunyoon emerged as his unexpected savior, intercepting the goblins' assault and shielding Sunghoon from harm. Sunyoon couldn't contain his frustration towards Sunghoon any longer. Turning to him, he snapped, "Please stay back. You're a fucking bother right now." Sunyoon swiftly took charge, dispatching the remaining goblins with skill and determination. As the last goblin fell, he earned the accomplishment of Goblin Hunter. Witnessing the incident, Sunghoon's cold demeanor seemed to intensify, his disdain evident in the subtle drip from his nose. Sunyoon began collecting all the spirit orbs from the defeated goblins, absorbing them to enhance his stats. Among these orbs, he absorbed a skill possessed by the goblin ranger known as Ranger's Knowledge. This skill widened his overall field of view, making it easier to detect approaching enemies. With a smile reminiscent of winning a jackpot, Sunyoon reveled in his newfound abilities. The three of them gathered, and Sunyoon laughed, saying that it seemed like Sunyoon was lucky to be up against the weak goblins. Sunyoon and Haeyeon then exchanged looks, suggesting they thought otherwise. Sunyoon asserted that he would take the lead and issue commands from now on, advising Sunyoon that his primary task was to protect Hunter Haeyeon. Sunyoon also advised Haeyeon to continue guiding them from the rear, as she had been doing before. With that settled, they resumed their search. Goblins appeared periodically, but now there was an eerie silence. Sunyoon noticed something and suddenly dashed forward. As they approached, they saw a number of defeated goblins, indicating that other challengers had passed through before them. Realization dawned: if another team reached the boss before them, they would incur the penalty of failing to complete the trial, risking everyone's lives. The other teams, slightly ahead, were also dealing easily with the goblins. One of them gradually grew weary of eliminating goblins and single-handedly finished off the remaining last wave. His teammates praised him for his efforts. But an arrogant individual among them looked down on his teammate, questioning if they were happy because they were being carried. Ignoring the camaraderie, the arrogant one then ordered his teammate to go and open the door to the boss room. The conditions had been satisfied, and all members of the challenger's team would enter the Goblin King's spiral tower. However, the boss battle would commence only when one of the two teams remained. No one could leave the current location, and a barrier had been summoned around them. As they observed the other team approaching, Sunyoon informed his teammates that he would confront them alone. He asked Haeyeon to provide only the agility buff to him, reserving the remaining buffs for Sunyoon. Haeyeon expressed her concern, noting that while Sunyoon was strong, human hunters might be more formidable than monsters. Understanding her point, Sunyoon assured her that if things became perilous, he would alert her, and he would entrust backup duties to her if necessary. With that, Haeyeon cast a buff on Sunyoon that would last for 10 minutes. Sunyoon confirmed that he was above the average hunter, having already dispatched more than 30 goblins in the area. He knew that with his current skill level, he was more than capable. Without hesitation, Sunyoon dashed towards the enemy, causing one of them to sense the imminent danger. Quickly reacting, he moved behind his comrade, instructing him to use his shield with all his strength. The comrade activated a spell that summoned a pyramid shield. However, Sunyoon's sword struck with such force that it shattered the defender's shield. Instantly defeating both enemies, Sunyoon and Haeyeon couldn't believe what they were witnessing. With only the arrogant guy remaining, he and Sunyoon clashed together, but Sunyoon sensed something was amiss. Though he knew he was more skilled, his opponent was blocking his strikes in a peculiar manner. Increasing his strength and attempting to outmaneuver his opponent from behind, Sunyoon found his attacks still thwarted. It dawned on him that his enemy's eyes could track the path of his sword. With this realization, Sunyoon improvised, throwing his shield to obstruct his enemy's vision before launching a surprise attack that led to his adversary's defeat. The system congratulated Sunyoon for completing a special task, promising additional rewards for the fourth floor trial. As they regrouped, Haeyeon noticed Sunyoon's trembling hand. She speculated that Sunyoon might be in shock after taking someone's life. Haeyeon had always perceived Sunyoon as strong and stoic. However, moments later, Sunyoon informed his teammates that he intended to proceed with the boss fight immediately. The Goblin King fell easily under Sunyoon's onslaught, leaving Sunyoon once again in shock, viewing Sunyoon as a formidable force akin to a monster. With the trial's goal accomplished, the system congratulated Sunyoon, rewarding him with a 4-point increase in all stats. Additionally, Sunyoon obtained the skill, Instant Acceleration, as an extra reward. The portal to the lobby opened, and Sunyoon went through first. Sunyoon wished Haeyeon a safe return, and in response, Haeyeon assured Sunyoon that he had simply done what needed to be done. She expressed that it was a task that someone had to undertake, and if Sunyoon couldn't do it, she would have stepped up. Sunyoon was grateful for Haeyeon's understanding, and Lee Haeyeon then sent him a friend request. As they concluded the fourth floor's trial, Sunyoon's pivotal role was acknowledged. yet Haeyeon felt a pang of disappointment for not receiving any rewards. She shared with Sunyoon that upon his return to Earth, he should seek out Lee Haeyeon of the White Silver Guild.